Welcome back to Making the Jump podcast, where we chat all things business, entrepreneurship and property. I'm Kafilat.
And I'm Rebecca, and we're here to journey with you as you make the jump into something you absolutely love.
Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Making the Jump podcast. I'm Kafilat.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we have a special guest. I would call her the queen of deal sourcing.
Oh wow! And I
She
received
is the
that.
queen. She knows how to co-source. She knows how to put deals together. Knows how to put investors together. The one and only Tinu from King Rose Development. Everyone.
Hello guys, so good to be on here. So good to be on here tonight. I'm so excited to be here. Answer any questions. Let's go.
Perfect. I am very excited to have you on, and you are our very first guest.
Oh, hooray! I'm glad. Setting the tone, guys. So listen, anyone after me, listen. This is the blueprint right here. Gotta be confident.
Hi.
But yeah, so you're if you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Okay, guys. So my name's Tinu, and I am the CEO and founder of Kingdom Rose Developments. So currently we are a property sourcing company, and I did have a rent to rent at one point, but we will delve into that in the episode. So I mainly find deals on behalf of investors looking for rent to rent opportunities. I focus on London and the Midlands at the moment, but occasionally Northwest as well. So yeah, if you're looking for a property, hit me up.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Whereabouts are you based, Tinu?
Oh, what did you say?
Whereabouts are you based?
Oh, I'm based in Kent. That's where I live. But I actually do my sourcing remotely. So yeah, that's a fun fact about me.
Oh, sounds good.
No, love that. So let's take it back a little bit. Prior to property, what was you doing before?
Okay, so prior to property, I was really young. So I'm only 21 now, which is a fun fact. Most people don't know that. But yeah, I was in sixth form, I must have been. So my first job was McDonald's, right? Absolutely hated it, right? So
it's got to be done.
Yeah, it's true. It was a classic. I was there simply because I needed to save up for my driving lessons, which were extortionate at the time. I did automatic, so I was paying like £35 an hour, which is insane because I know that some people older than me were paying like £8, like back in the days, probably in the 90s.
£8.
Yeah, which is fair enough. So yeah, I started at McDonald's. I think a lot of people think that when you're at McDonald's, it's like you're actually frying the food, etc. But no, my first job was not that. I was customer care, which meant that I was cleaning the toilets, all that kind of stuff, making sure the restaurant was clean. So that was me. Then after that, moved to uni.
I'm grateful to you, Tinu.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I love a good McDonald's.
Same. And I got a free meal every shift.
Oh my goodness.
So I was here for it. I was like, listen, £8 something an hour, free meal, honestly, cleaning the loose.
It's brilliant. I like McDonald's. I don't care what people say. I know people say like the chicken's not real chicken, but when you go in, you want the tables to be clean. And I'm always scared to open the toilet door. But angels, you come along and make it feel like the Ritz. So I want to say thank you.
Wouldn't say the Ritz, love, but listen, I did what I needed to do to make it, presentable. But yeah, that's my job history. Then I moved to uni and I just did basic jobs. So I did a bit of like hotel work that looked like cleaning again, and also what else did I do? I did like waitressing at hotels, which was really hard. That was on agency, so like I'm at a different hotel every time, and I just didn't really enjoy that very much. But yeah, that's a little bit about what I did before.
Interesting. That is quite the history,
right? Crazy, hey.
What was it that motivated you to make the jump into something different, something you loved? Yeah, what was the driving force?
So funny story. So I applied to Warwick University to study law, and that was the original plan. So, we're going on the linear path, right? We're going to do law 3 years. After that, we're going to get like a law job. But I didn't get into the course that I wanted to get into. So I got into they gave me a different course. They gave me sociology instead. The plan still was to do the 3-year degree and after that do a law conversion, etc., etc. But I realized something in that moment. I don't like reading. I don't like.
Me
I
too. Me too.
come on, like let's be real. I don't like excessive reading. I don't enjoy doing that. And
No.
I think that my mindset was, okay, let me be a lawyer because I want to make money. So if my motivation was to make money, let's start having a look at other avenues that can do that. And that's where I came across property. So I spent all of my time, whilst I accepted the course and I was like, okay, we'll have law as a backup. Let's see what I can do to make money now. Right. So that's when I started looking into property, rent to service accommodation and deal sourcing. So they came hand in hand for me. I took on my first service accommodation. I'll use the term SA friends. So if I use SA, I mean service accommodation. It stands for service accommodation. At the same time in which I started sourcing. So I did them both and I was just making billions of pounds, maybe not billions, but a lot more money than McDonald's was willing to pay me. But I had quit McDonald's at this time anyway, because I actually started in my first year. No, not my first year. I started in my second year of university, but fully launched in my third year of university. So the time frame in which I was in sixth form working at McDonald's to the time in which I started, I was just doing a lot of education stuff. But yeah, if my motivation was money, there had to be an easier way to make money other than like the traditional law, accountancy, medicine. Not stopping on them. Listen, if you're smart for it, you're smart for it. I'm not smart for it. What can I tell you? So yeah, that's how I went into property. Yeah.
No, that is fair enough. Just very quickly, is it all right if you adjust your camera so your face is in the frame a little bit more? There we go.
Is that better? I can't see it. I can see it from my end, but it looks all like a FaceTime situation. But yeah.
No, that's a lot better. Perfect. No, that's amazing. That is amazing. Well, one thing I do have to say, I do have to commend you for being so young and taking action. Because at 21, I wasn't thinking about things like that. In terms of like, how can the thing was I thinking about it? Probably not, because I was just on this path of like uni, get my qualification. But the fact that you were able to think outside the box, not many 21-year-olds are doing that. And you're 21 now, so back then you was like 18, 19.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely wasn't thinking about that. So well done to you for like taking that leap, making that jump, and like trying to find something better than just your average uni.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
So where do you think that came from though? Was it that you just didn't want to have a 9 till 5, or had you come across property videos, or was there someone in your family that made you think about property?
I came across property videos. So I was kind of like, I think I was 18 in the time of the pandemic. So we had a lot of a lot of time to kind of think about what it was that we wanted to do with our lives. And I know that people were making money in property at the time. I know that people sometimes say that there's certain times that are bad to invest, but people who did buy property in 2020 are doing really well now. Incredibly, that's about 4 years ago now, which is literally like madness, because I felt like it was yesterday. I don't know about you guys, but I use coronavirus as an excuse for pretty much everything. But yeah, I very much did.
I agree. Like corona, it's mad to think that corona was like 4 years ago now.
Right?
I can't believe that.
Yeah,
mad. Nearly half a decade.
Literally insane, hey. But yeah, so it was around that time I was just looking at ways to make money. I looked into e-commerce a little bit, but I think property really resonated with me. Yeah, some members of my family are into property too, but I wasn't really focused on that. I think coming from a black family, the focus is law, doctor.
You must go to school.
Engineering.
Yeah, engineering, like all of the above. But if you kind of scale that back, the reason for that is for financial stability. And as a way to make money. So again, property was that, it was interesting to me. It was something that I could tangibly see and also work on, if that makes sense. And also something I didn't necessarily have to have the capital for myself, which is where deal sourcing comes in. And in my opinion, it is the 10 out of 10 strategy, because every single deal that you take, even for service accommodation, you're going to have to know how to find a deal. So that concrete skill is all there. So I'm literally just selling that skill on, and I don't have any responsibility for the deal other than the point in which I'm working on it. but after we've signed contracts, my responsibility for the deal is done, if that makes sense. And in that process, I've networked with people. Like, I've got people I've deal sourced with that if I wanted to do a joint venture, like, the capital is there because that rapport is there as well. So essentially it is like a sales situation. But yeah, that's that.
No, that's amazing. I just want to go back just a little bit.
Mhm.
What did you tell your family what you was up to when you was at uni, but when you started deal sourcing?
I did tell them, but you know, when you know, you have to have something that actually works first before you
You need
now come in.
proof.
Yeah, before now you tell them, yeah, I'm not doing law again. It's not law for
Exactly.
me. It's property only, baby. Yeah, I had that material there. Like, listen, this is how much I made, and I made that in the space of a week. You know, I can confidently say that I do earn more than some doctors in the UK. You know, based on what I do, and you know, I think a lot of that is hard because I know people feel the type of way. They feel the same way about footballers. It's less so about the footballers. It's less so about the deal sourcing. It's less so about the property people. That the pay for the doctors is very separate. It's to do with the government. But the concept was that, okay, if I went into law, I went into like a doctorate, I would have had to do so much more years of studying.
Yeah.
Whereas I can just apply skill here and I can scale, you know. So that's that. And again, with deal sourcing though, I would say it's not necessarily every single month that I might make more than a doctor, or every single month that I make more than a lawyer. It really just does depend. But the fact that it's possible, and I have done months like that where I've seen it's possible, motivates me to keep going. To be fair.
No.
And so, did you
That's
finish
good.
your degree?
I did, yeah, by the grace of God. Like, I had to finish that degree. Yeah, you know, if I'm gonna start something, I'm gonna try my best to finish. So again, by the time I had started deal sourcing, I was in my second to last year / my final year. So there wasn't much point in you know, dropping out. But did I think about it? Yeah, every day.
Yeah, like money, degree, money, degree.
Yeah.
One takes precedence.
You've
Yeah.
got a certificate now, so well done for getting it finished.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've got a question.
Go for it.
And Kafilat, I realise we've gone in a slightly different order with
That's
our
fine.
questions. Let's just roll.
Yeah, let's
We
do
were
it.
literally just rolling with it.
100% ready.
We noticed that you're called Kingdom Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a Christian,
Oh,
and
okay.
if there's one thing that Christians love to talk about is the kingdom.
Yes, that's
So
one thing that they love. That's
when
one thing
I
we
saw
love.
that word, I was like, oh, I wonder if she's got a faith. Have you? And would you mind talking to us and just telling us, if you do, like, how that impacts you along your journey?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so listen, y'all found me, y'all clocked me on. Yes, it's called Kingdom Rose Developments. Kingdom for Christ, our Lord and Savior, and Rose, just because I thought it added a little touch. At first, it was going to be called Kingdom Properties, but I thought anyone could be called that. Do you know what I mean? Just how you've got, like, you know, so many King's Arms pubs, etc. Like, I didn't really didn't want that. I wanted to speak something slightly different. So I did a little Rose, a little bit of a feminine touch.
Lovely.
I get that.
CEO. But yeah, to answer the second part of your question, integrity is key. So in the sourcing game, like, sometimes you can get a few people that will scam. I'll just say it outright. So, you know, they might have a deal, or they might be working with somebody else, and like, they have full intent to cut that person out of the deal. Or if someone sends me a deal and then, like, someone else sends it to me, oh well, I get a, you know, higher cut if I go through that person. It's like just integral things that I try my best to stick to. And you know, it can be hard not to scam people, but like the whole being integral all the time, it can be difficult at times. But you know, you'd rather do that than you know, be, like, let's just say, exposed on Facebook as, oh, like, this person, and then obviously to be called Kingdom something, and oh, this Kingdom something scammed me. Oh, God forbid.
That's the worst. God forbid.
It's like being robbed by Abraham, or being stolen from by Daniel. Could it be? Can it be? There's no possible way.
No,
but I've encountered many people, as Kafilat knows. I tell her these stories all the time. I've encountered many non-integral, I don't know if that's the English, but non-integral human beings. And yeah, it can be very murky, I think. Yeah, it's a very murky world in the sourcing industry. But just try my best.
I love that. I think we don't on podcasts, you don't tend to hear people talk about their faiths and how that sort of impacts like their business, their property journey. So for me personally, I'm a Muslim, a practicing Muslim, and for me having a faith is like a moral compass.
Yeah.
So is and again, like the integrity part. So I can't, it's not in my nature. I cannot physically try to cheat someone.
Exactly. Good.
I just can't. It's just not in
Good.
me to do such a thing. So, and I feel like that's where the faith, the religion sort of comes into play. So I love that part, that especially with your business name as well, how you've like incorporated that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. No, all glory to God, genuinely, like he's got this down packed.
Yeah,
No,
love that. Thank you for
no,
sharing. Kafilat, did you want to jump in with anything?
I want to talk money.
Yeah. Let's go.
I love money, doing accounting, I love money. So let's talk about the change that you make. So in terms of like what does an average month sort of like look for you? Just like, you don't have to give specifics, just like a ballpark.
Okay, well, it depends on how many deals I sell, and it depends on what kind of commission split I'm doing them on. So the typical sourcing fee is around £3,000. So I charge slightly under that because I'm more of a deal finder than packager. So a deal packager is someone who will do all of the due diligence for you. They'll probably go to the viewings, like they'll kind of, it's like a package deal. All you need to do is kind of invest and go from there. I tend to find that deal finding is a little bit easier. So what happens for me is that my investors will come to me and say, Tinu, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom in Birmingham. My budget is around this much. It needs to be furnished. I'm willing to pay this much, this much, this much. So I'll just go ahead and find that. So if I charge 2.5, I think I have sold, for the times in which I've actively been working, I have sold on average maybe 2 or 1 to 2 a month, depending on how active I am, because whilst I was in uni I did about 1 every single month, so y'all can do the maths. And then when I do it myself and I'm trying to transition into full-time, I have done 2, so y'all can see kind of, it can depend, it can range, but sometimes around the 5k ish mark, but sometimes it could be a lot more. I had a deal recently, it did fall through, so I can talk about it on camera, which was £12,000. So that was a block, so I charged £1,000 per unit in the block. So that's why I say it really genuinely does range. But if you source the higher ticket deals like that, then I know of people who are making like 30k a month doing that, but you have to have the right type of investors, not ones that will kind of string you along the whole time, like, yes, I'm interested, and last minute pull out. But yeah, anywhere between those kind of figures is what we're looking at.
No, that's good. That's more than like most 21-year-olds are making nowadays. So
Yeah.
there's definitely nothing to sneeze at. What was it like receiving that first fee into your bank account?
Oh
What was
my
that like?
gosh. Story time, guys. So let me bring you guys back just to keep this really interesting. So this is the first deal I've sold, right? I had prayed and I had a word from the Lord, and He had told me that I was going to sell a deal, and I was, just not trying to believe it, not trying to get my hopes up, because I was just like, I had been trying for some time prior to that. I was again under the impression that, all you need to do, put it on Facebook, and someone's going to take the deal, just like that. And like it just didn't happen. Like, you have to do a lot more networking with people, because you want to differentiate yourself from just another Facebook post. Anyways, so I spoke to this guy. I co-sourced my first one because I was in uni. So it was a 1-bedroom in Birmingham, in Coventry city centre. I went to the University of Warwick, which is in Coventry. So I was like, okay, it's perfect. Like, I can actually attend the viewing now, so I can actually come and meet the guy. Crazy story. I meet him on Facebook. He's like, yeah, I'm interested. I'm like, oh, heard interested so many times. And you're like, okay, message them. Oh, when would you like to come for a viewing? How long has your company been set up? And then like you get no reply. But this guy actually replied, and he was very consistent. He took my number, I spoke to him. He was really serious. Long story short, we move on to referencing. He passes, and I'm still just sitting there in shock, like in disbelief. Like, is this actually happening? And then it comes to paying finder's fees, and like I just see 3k, obviously, which is split with my co-sourcer. And so that's a whole £1,500. And I'm just there like, is this actually real? I've never, deep in, but I'm a uni student. Like, I had never seen that amount of money before that wasn't Student Finance England, telling me this much money that I have to pay back at the end of my term. I was just shooketh. I was just shooketh. I was like, what do I do with this? First thing I did was tithe. If for those that don't know what tithe is you pay 10% to the Lord, just on him with like your first fruits. So I tithed. Again, never given a 3-figure tithe. Because let's roll it back. I had worked at McDonald's. Was I making like, did I even make £1,000 at McDonald's? No. Very much no. So yeah, it was crazy. I can't remember what I must have spent that on now. But I really hope to God that I didn't just spend it on shoes, or I really hope I didn't do that. I really hope I didn't do that, but we cannot confirm or deny. But yeah, that it was crazy. I was so happy. But you know, similar to any business, once you get the ball rolling, it's a lot easier to go again. And by the every single month until exam season for me, which was around April time, I sold at least one every single month, or two. Some months 3. I think my highest month at the time was about £5,000, £4,500. It's higher now slightly, but you know, that was the first one. And yeah,
that's incredible. And
That is.
where are you finding your investors?
Funny story. It's very much Facebook still. Facebook and WhatsApp. They are literally there. That is where they are. It's like you've got these GCs specifically made for like property investment and stuff like that. They are literally there. It's just a thing of contacting them, messaging them, and actually engaging with them more than just the deal. Like, oh, how long has your business been set up? Like, what's your company name like? Do you know what I mean? Like, getting to know their story a little bit more, just because it's going to be easier to remember you, remember me as like a person, and that way when I have more deals, it's like there's that rapport there. And then we move from there. Obviously I don't want to be like 100% works every single time, but 9 out of 10 times they're on the chat because they want a deal, struggling to find one, they don't have the time, they are looking for a sourcer. If you can provide them with what they're looking for, they'll be more than happy to pay your finder's fee, and keep it stepping.
No, that's really good. But obviously the money's great. 4.5k, 1.5k is all great. But obviously to every business, there's probably some downsides. So can you give us a mini story time?
Yeah, you know the one.
Like a mini story time of like something going wrong.
Yeah, for sure. So Kafilat knows this story. I had an investor who I thought was great. I actually met his wife on Facebook, and then she was like, "Oh, my husband's the one that deals with like all of the money, and stuff like that." So I kind of met him through her. And he came across, I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys have watched Tinder Swindler, but he was the property
Swindler.
investor swindler. That's what he was. We're going to just call him Abdul for the sake of the podcast. But basically, he would send me money for like small things. Like, let's just say I sent him like a template rent-to-rent contract, which is something that you don't like pay for. He's just reading over something that he would have had to sign at some stage. You know, he would just send me £100 for that, or like, oh, Tinu, I'm not in Coventry, but there's a property I want to view. Can you view it? And he'll just send me like another £100, and I'm like, this is good. This is great.
I'm waiting to see what the bad bit is here.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming. But then when it came to me actually selling him the deals now, there was always an excuse with the finder's fee. There was always a reason as to why he couldn't pay it, or like he just kept on avoiding it. And like he's like, don't give these deals to anyone else. Tinu, I don't want to see you working with anyone else. If I post it on my group chats, he'll be like, no, don't post that. That's mine. And I was like, okay. Do you want to reserve it? Yep, I'm happy to pay bespoke fees. I'm happy to pay bespoke fees, and I'll be waiting. Obviously, I can get a notification if the fees come in, so I can actually reserve it for him, like as in on my end, and then tell the agents like, never came in. And he was like, oh, my bank said it came through. How come we didn't see it? And I'm checking again. I'm thinking I'm crazy. Still checking. Nothing's come through. And then he was like, oh yeah, there was an issue with the bank blocked it. I need to go back to the bank. He was like, can I drive up to like Birmingham to meet you, and I can give you like 1,500 cash, right? And I was just like, this is getting crazy. But yeah, I went on a spiral of that for like 3 months. I just didn't have enough like knowledge to see this. So it'll be like, Tinu, I'm really interested. I'm taking this off the market today. This is my deal. I'm taking it. This is how much I'm going to make. Da, 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 da. I'm going to pay you the finance fee right now. Don't give it to anyone. Give me 10 minutes. I'm going to send the money. And it never happens. And so obviously I had built up in my mind that he could, because obviously like he's sent me £100 for this and £100 for that. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And he offered to take me to like a business brunch here, and I can pay for this, and it's no worries, business money is on me, all of this dinner is on me. Comes to the nitty gritty, you know, he was never around. Anyways, me and my business partner are just like, okay, there's something very suspicious about you. Let's search up your company. And we searched up, and it turns up he has like £1 to his name on his company, a company's house. The company's literally recently registered. Like, there's literally nothing to it. He's put a different name on company's house, and then he's making it. He's like, oh no, I was in jail, so I had to. And I'm just sitting there thinking, there's no possible way. There's no possible way. But the worst thing that happened is that I had a service accommodation in Liverpool, and I decided to give back the keys, not necessarily because it was a bad deal. I just didn't have the time to put in. Anyone who does service accommodation, and Rebecca, you have one, so you know, it does actually require a level of work. It's not passive income. You don't just put it on Airbnb and just like wait. Like, you have to actually market it. I lost time. I didn't have the time to do so. And the managers in the area just were not giving me what I needed. So I decided to give back the keys, took out the funds because I sourced it as a deal. And then I was going to reinvest that into something else, which I did. So let's just call the guy Abdul. He messages me, Tinu, I'm really interested. I'm ready. I know that we didn't get off on a good foot last time, but you know, I'm ready to move ahead. This is exactly what I want. Ed, no, you're not coming back into my life. But I think I've even skipped the gun. Why did I actually end up like deleting him from like my life? He had a property in Coventry, which is where I went to uni, in Warwick. And I had people in the year below come to view it, to live there. He calls me on the day of the viewing, at the time of the viewing. Viewing's at 11. He calls me at like 10:59 saying, hey, sorry, I'm a bit hungover. I'm in London. I had an argument with my wife. I can't make it. I'm sorry. Da, 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 da. These times, the actual girls are outside calling me like, oh, hey, the landlord's not here. What's going on? Like, we've travelled all the way from uni campus to come. And obviously that really like messes up my reputation. So I was just like, you know what? Thank you, Abdul, but this isn't going to work out. And he was
cancelled.
Yeah. And then guess what? He sends, yeah, Tinu, I'm going to send you £40 just for your efforts, just for your time. I kept that £40. Yeah, I kept that £40. But like, the business relationship was done out. But final straw, I posted that property. He messages me, I'm ready, I'm interested, da, 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 da. I really want to take it on. I obviously turned around and say, hey, I'm not so comfortable working with you. All the best in your property journey. He sends another person to message me as a decoy. Let's just call this guy Daquan. Hey, Tinu, I'm really interested. Da, 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 da. And I think he must have paid Daquan to like message me to get the property. Long story short, I didn't clock on that Daquan was from him. There was no reason for me to. Then I find out on the contract, Abdul's name is there.
You must have been so shocked. You must have been like, is this the right contract?
I was shook. I was so confused. So they basically doubled up as a joint venture business partner. And yeah, and they went ahead and took the deal. You know, to this day, my old landlord, who obviously owned it, was like that he has been nothing but trouble since then. He's defaulted on rent payments. She's had to get like legal, like it's been tough. Obviously, I can't talk on the legal side because I don't know it. But obviously, I have a good relationship with her. So when she messaged me saying that, you know, it's such a shame, but yeah, that's been the situation. But I personally stay away from him. Anyone who even smells like him, like through the phone, I'm like, listen, I've been through this rodeo, you know.
What would you have done differently if you were to go through that situation again? Like, what red flags would you have taken note of sooner?
I actually would have taken note of the red flags of him just sending money for insignificant things. I thought that was a sign of, oh, he's got money, but actually,
he's ready.
Yeah, exactly. But it was more so a sign of control.
He's breadcrumbing you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, love bombing. Is it love bombing where you like make someone feel amazing?
He was money bombing me, right? And so he was trying to show me, yeah, I've got money, I've got all the money in the world, da, 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 da. And then it was a thing of control. He just didn't like the idea that other clients had my attention. And I don't think I mentioned this. He used to call me at like 1 a.m. 10 p.m. like and stuff, and just call all the time, and he'll be like, Tinu, why are you effing asleep? Like, money never sleeps. Like, you know, and I should have got another red flag was he used to swear at me quite a lot, but in a way that it was like, oh, he kind of tried to frame it in a way where he was like, it was not that he was swearing at me, but he was just more just swear. It was really weird. Like, there was just a couple of things that I was like, this is funny, not funny, haha, funny, weird.
Do you think he knew your age?
Yes, I think so.
Because
Mom.
would he have treated someone like this in their 40s or 50s?
Funny thing is, I had someone who's really prominent in the property industry. He had met her. He didn't treat her the same way, but eventually he did. So she's a property manager by trade, and so she offers management. And so he took her on for management for a property, and then it turns out he was all good, all nice, happy to pay, you know, all of the above, like going for it. But then he tried to swindle her and messaged all of the tenants in the property to stop paying rent into her account and to pay it to him directly and to cut her out. And so that's when she realized, oh, Tinu knows what she's saying. This is the final straw with this guy.
Abdul's just made a very good reel for us.
Right?
Literally.
Yeah, I posted a reel as well, so go ahead, guys. But yeah, there are several red flags to look at. But my I want to call it discernment, or my ability to see through the red flags was so like not there, because he had like money bombed me. Before. So I was just thinking, oh, maybe he does have an issue with the bank, like he's making such a large payment and all of this.
Very clever. It's strategic and cunning.
Right, exactly. It was so weird.
Yeah,
it's the fact that it's done it to someone else as well, that he did it to the other lady as well and try and cut her out as well.
There's so much more to this story, guys.
I know.
There's a guy, I forgot his name, but bless him, but he messaged me saying, hey, there's something, you've worked with Abdul before, like, is he a good guy? Because he made me drive all the way from London to Wales with him in the car, and promised me that he's going to be investing in my future, that I'm the only one I'm the only one he needs. I'm going to be paying for him. I'm like a gem. I'm going to be giving him like investment funding for his next property, you know. And he did this a few times, not just Wales, but also Birmingham and Coventry and London. He became this guy's personal driver with the hopes that he's going to invest, that Abdul's going to give him money. And Abdul similarly will give him £100 here, £200 here. You know, it's not a problem. Like, if you ever want dinner, like, it's on me. But then it came to it. Funds never came through. And actually, he used this guy's name for his council tax, for everything. To this day, he's still getting council tax bills from Abdul.
The fraudster. He's a criminal, cunning.
He's a menace.
He's crazy.
Fraudster.
He's crazy.
I'm so glad you're free of him. I think even though these experiences are very hard, I think it's good you've been through it so early on in your career.
Yeah.
You will never forget these red flags and signs, and you'll be able to warn other people as well, and you'll be able to keep yourself safe as you discern who you want to work with. So in a way, it's good to have it now.
100%. 100%. I'm so glad that I went through that straight away. You know, we always talk about things like this in property, like fail forward and fail fast. So I'm really grateful for that failure. That I can now educate people. Like, oh, he's paid this, he's paid that. Like, what's his character like? And also, there were certain red flags. Everyone who I introduced him to felt a bit funny after meeting him. Like, he would insult people. Like, what's it like being a man and black in property? Like, yeah. And he'll try and frame it like a joke. Bear in mind, this guy is not
direct.
Yeah. So yeah. So much to talk about. But let's go on to the positive things. So he was.
It's actually a good segue, though. Let's leave Abdul thing, because we have
Park Abdul.
Yeah.
Let's Abdul to one side quickly.
Honestly.
Talking about race, we just wanted to touch on something we're exploring together. How do you feel being a black woman in property? Do you feel that you're well supported, well represented? Have you come up against any struggles?
That's such a fantastic question. I feel fine. I feel good.
Really good.
You know, it's not actually something I massively think about, only just because most of the people that I work with are POCs anyway. People are, I've made such a wonderful network of them. So I'm in my own kind of little world, I guess. But I've seen videos of people who do like property vlogs and stuff where they went with like their mentor, and their mentor was white and they was black, and they were like, sorry, we're not really interested in like people like you, not really interested in like, you know, people from that caliber. And it was like, what do you mean, and it's like, oh fine, like I don't want to give my property to a black person, like I know what people who are black are like, you know, and things like that. So whilst it hasn't happened to me personally, I know that God forbid it's a possibility. So just something to be wary of. Yeah, but overall, most of the people that I work with are people of color, anyways. So it's all good.
Okay, that's really helpful.
No, that is helpful, because as we're stepping into this industry, you hear stories, and it is always something that's like at the back of your mind, like when you go to viewings and speaking to landlords, and you turn up and they stop replying to you. It's like, why are you stop chatting to me?
Funny that. Well, you know what? Like I said, I don't really tend to go to viewings too tough, but I've had experiences on behalf of investors, if that helps, like who have been kind of profiled. They what had happened, and oh yes, my investors had gone to a property in Nottingham, and like I think my co-sourcer had said that he had got racist vibes. But then when three black people, because the investors were black too, three black people turned up to the property, all of a sudden landlord wants to up the rent. All of a sudden landlord's kind of replying slowly and surely. And I think from what I remember speaking to the investor, the landlord made a comment that made him feel like, yeah, definite red flag, and wasn't looking to move ahead.
Yeah, that is tough. And sometimes it's hard because you don't know if there is prejudice happening.
That's so awkward, yeah.
Sometimes
Right.
you just get this gut feeling that makes you think, but what else could it have
Could
been?
it be?
Yeah. So, but do you know what? Going back to what you're saying, I'm really glad that there are lots of people of colour in property and enough to be able to build a network out of. I think it's a really good strategy. I think it's good for anyone, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. Kafilat, can I jump in with a question?
Of course, go for it.
So I obviously am big into essays. You've chatted to us and really explained deal sourcing, which we loved. I wondered if you could just tell us a little bit about what it was like having your essay and your learning from it.
Yeah, 100%. Biggest learning curve is that it's not passive income. I was under the impression that you take the property, rent it from the landlord. All I need to do is put it on Airbnb and the bookings come in. You know, there's a lot more that goes into it than that. Like, I have to make it a really attractive booking. Also, I have to try and market it to people around, not just kind of people on Airbnb booking.com, but also who's local in the area. They're local contractors, or they're people who are here on like a seminar, or what is it that's going on in the area, so that I can make my property the most attractive for that, if that makes sense. Because I gave it to a management company, my management company was based in Manchester, and obviously the property was in Liverpool, so I felt like they were trying to take on a bit too much at once, if that makes sense. So things in my property would be missed a lot of the time. Less so cleaning, but more so, the rates were a little bit high over this weekend. They should have been slightly lower so that it could attract like different guests. I had a cancellation as well. I had like a 30-night booking, and somehow they managed to mess that up as well, and they ended up cancelling, you know, and just stuff like that. But yeah, service accommodation, in my opinion, it's best done self-managed, because nobody cares about your property more than you do. Or you can get a really, really good manager, preferably someone who has their own essays and are running yours almost like a favour, but for a fee. Instead of like a massive company. But that's just my personal experience. Customer service is a massive thing. So I could have taken a lot of my transferable skills from Mackie's into that. Making sure that you reply to every single good review and bad review, because the people are going to want to see if you're active. If you got like a bad review, how are you mitigating that for next time? You know, that's the main things I would say.
That's really helpful. Yeah, we're on our journey now. We also have like an agency that help us manage it. My husband and I were chatting this morning and saying It's not actually that passive. We do actually have to check in quite regularly with the agency just
Yes.
to make sure that things are being done. I think because we've got one in our house,
Mhm.
which we keep in immaculate condition, we're used to quite a high standard.
Yeah.
We don't want to be overbearing and like, like have you checked
Yeah.
this? Have you checked that?
I was overbearing
But
happily. I'm paying you. I'm paying you. I was happily.
maybe we've done it.
Overbearing.
I think it's because we're not fully confident in them yet.
Yeah.
Lovely staff team, but little things like, for example, we've got a camera that points out over the garden so we can see if anyone wants to like climb over the back gate or something or try and break in. And I could see that these people who'd been there for 23 nights, they were just putting their rubbish in black bags and piling it up in the garden. Whereas I would have liked it if the agency had spotted that and then emailed them or phoned them to say, oh, the wheelie bin is just round the corner. Since you're there for like 3 weeks, just make sure you put it out every Monday.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. Whereas I feel like it was me that raised the issue of the bins like 4 times.
Yeah.
On their like 22nd night, I saw them on the camera wheeling the wheelie bin in, and I'm like, oh, I wish they'd have like had that
Before.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I was on my management company like all the time. I was like, oh, can we change the ad to say this? I think it'll be more attractive if we put it like this and that. Like I felt like I was micromanaging. But again, hopefully you have a bit more of a better experience with yours than I did with mine. I think I was kind of under the impression that they were gonna like get me like this super occupancy. I was told I was gonna get like 95%, and that all their properties in the area are getting like 90% occupancy. And the reality of it is that it's not always the case. It's not always on that occupancy all the time. It might have been 90% occupancy once, and now it's their like main tagline. So yeah, you'll see as you go. You'll see as you go, and also don't be afraid to change management company if you need to. But again, it's early days, so we don't know just yet. But just keep an eye on them and go from there.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'd love to get your wisdom maybe off of the podcast as well about self-managing maybe and seeing how that goes.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think I know you like your main focus is sourcing at the moment. Do you think you'll ever return to SA now you know what you know?
Potentially, but in a different way. So this time I would invest in someone else. So I would be the JV partner, or preferably a silent partner, whereby I give them the money for it and I get a fixed return. That's what I'm really grooving for at the moment.
Yeah.
It would be great to give someone the opportunity to obviously run their SA through my funding. So definitely a conversation for phone battery just sent me a notification. If anyone on here who's listening is keen for that, drop me a message around Q2. So that's kind of March-ish time. That's when I tend to invest funds. So
why Q2?
It's just when I've saved. Like it's just when I've saved. It's just when I've saved it up. Last year I invested about £5,000 into various investments. And yeah, it's been really good so far. And I'm gonna recoup those funds again, and then I'll reinvest into something else. So yeah.
Okay, so it's essentially just recycling the money.
Yeah, always recycling or just raising more finance for other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, as my investment style stands right now, quite a passive girly. So I do like to invest in other people's business and they give me return. Last year, January, I popped something on my story, probably a bit prematurely, but I was offering £1,000 finance, not for SA, but for something else actually, just to diversify my income. So people who might have like a nail business, hair business, barber business, just all sorts. I had someone who does like social media marketing who needed the money for the ads, and then the aim was for them to like give me a good percentage afterwards, but didn't end up going ahead with that actually. I think I saved that 1k towards my 4k investment that I made.
So you'd give them 1,000 and then you might ask for like what, 1,500 back or something like that.
Exactly that. 1.5 back, or even 2k if it was like a longer term investment. But it probably wouldn't work for property just because they're a lot more expensive in terms of what's needed up front. But for what I was doing in kind of the spaces to do with like hair and nails and all that kind of stuff. That was the kind of funding that they needed. But yeah, that's that.
Honestly, I just think you're amazing. Like, being so forward thinking like that, like being so young and wanting to help people like that, I think it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's so bold and encouraging. And
100%.
I think that's a really nice sort of lead into a question before we ask you about what your goals are for 2024. What advice would you give to someone that wants to make the jump? So from a more traditional route, or perhaps a 9 till 5, or a different kind of business into something they love?
Do you know what? I'll actually give some relatively controversial advice. I would say don't quit your day job just yet. I actually will go and say that. Just because obviously what I know now about sourcing, what I know about rent to rent, it's not unless the Lord leads you, it's not one of them ones where you drop everything and go. I actually believe in building and scaling a business. Obviously right now I'm really young, so I was able to do it all off the bat, but I don't have as much risk as someone who might be like a mum or like a dad and they've got kids to depend on them. Like, businesses need to be built, right? And you can build them fast, but it's better to build them sustainably. So whilst you're at work, the money that you have from that, if it's still sourcing you want to do, invest that into your education. Just a cheeky plug, 5 Loaves community at 5 Loaves. I'm a mentor there, and I'm part of the crew. We've filmed a course really cheap at the time in which we're recording this. Cheap is not the right word, affordable is the right word. At the time in which we're recording this, it is £499.99 for the deal sourcing course. The service accommodation course is £499.99, and the HMO course is also £499.99, which we think is really good value for money. Because a lot of places, I've had someone today tell me that they've been charged £3,000 for something similar, or quoted £3,000 for something similar. And you can get the bundle, all of them together, for £1.2k, and it's yours for life as well. So yeah, get involved if that's what you're looking to do. It's Airbnb, you could use the funds from your day job to invest those funds with someone who is actually running Airbnbs at the moment and get a fixed return, or you could use that to pay for your education and learn. So I would say do that first, and then don't quit your job unless the Lord leads you, until what you're making in your property business far outweighs what you're making in your 9 to 5, or you get to like a reasonable level. Like, if you can genuinely live off 2k a month and you're making 2k a month consistently in property, take that jump. Do you know what I mean? But if you're still making like 500 there, 1,000 here, you're on shaky ground. So I would say keep the 9 to 5. I'm not one of the people who's going to tell you quit your job. Yeah, we should have quit yesterday. Like, no, sustainability, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say you've made the jump into property, like going full time into property as of now?
I would say yeah, pretty much. But y'all gotta remember, I am 21 years old, and like I have a massive safety net, so I was able to do so and scale from there. I decided not to take a graduate job. At the same time, I got offered one, so you guys are the first to know that I got offered a job in Dubai.
Oh
wow!
Yeah, so y'all, this is the first podcast to know about exclusive. But yeah, I got offered a job as a real estate agent in Dubai.
Wow, that's a hot market.
Yeah, crazy. And they were willing to like obviously have me flown out and all of that, and I'd be living there full time as a real estate agent. But I prayed about it, and I just didn't sense that go ahead. Like, I just didn't feel good about it, and I knew that it was a great opportunity, but I knew that I was called to build Kingdom Rose developments here. And I think that speaks massively to like knowing not your worth, but like knowing your vision,
your potential.
Yeah, and the potential. And I knew that for a fact. Same with a grad job as well. And this isn't to say that I won't take one in the future. If I do take one, it's very simply for the purpose of building that capital to invest in something else. Like, my mindset is this is a short-term goal to a long-term end, which would be in the property space. So yeah, but that's actually even a very brief story time as well. I did apply. I did get the job in Dubai, but I also did apply for other jobs. I applied to be a recruitment consultant. And the interview, at the interview, they told me, We would hire you, but we're not going to, just because we feel like you're a bit too ambitious for what we're looking for. We're wanting someone who's going to focus primarily on like the recruitment side of things, but you seem to be interested in property, and like they literally said something so prophetic. They were like, you seem to be making more in your property business than you would here, so why would you want to join us? It's not really in your best interest. So great meeting you. All the best in your property endeavors. And that's when,
Super honest.
yeah, and that's when I knew that I was gonna go straight into real estate, because yeah, it was this time last year when I was interviewing for grad jobs, but I
Wow.
just sensed that it wasn't gonna occur for me.
Wow. So you've been
Yeah,
sourcing about 12 months, 18 months?
yeah, about yeah, since since October 2022, officially.
Okay.
But more informally from like May 2022, but like in and out. Then I moved to America for like 2 months and all the above. So yeah.
No,
Okay.
that's
Good.
amazing. I want to ask a question in terms of social media. Like, how
Mm.
important is it to have a social media presence nowadays? And do you
Also,
get like clients and
yeah.
investors that way as well?
Yeah. Social media is literally so important. Like people aren't really gonna know. I don't even like as we speak now. I actually don't have a website. Considering building one, but I don't actually have a website. My Instagram and my WhatsApp are my website. So yeah, it's so important for people to see what it is that you're doing, and how you're building and you're scaling. In this day and age, people like social proof. So reviews are actually really important. And I post them on
Mm,
my social media every so often, just so people can see my track record, kind of thing.
Mm.
Because I feel like nowadays nobody's going to purchase something or be invested in something if they ain't seen like proof, or they've seen like proof that other people have said that it's good, if that makes sense.
yes.
Um, and also, I just love my social media. I love speaking to the people. I was just on live earlier. I don't get many people join the lives, but soon come, I'm going to have quite a few people start joining. But
100%.
yeah, I just enjoy speaking to people, talking about my story times, and building a media presence. At the time in which we're recording this, I've got about just over 2K followers on there. So yeah, that was built. And I get at least one new follower every single day. So yeah, building that presence, sharing what I'm doing, sharing the deals that I'm posting.
Yeah.
I've had a few people message based on that alone. So
Mhm.
yeah.
No, that's amazing. I would recommend everyone to follow Kingdom Rose Developments for story times alone. They're
Yeah.
amazing.
Come
So
on, no, doing that,
that's literally
doing that.
that's how I got sucked into you, your personality. It's just
Oh.
fantastic. So I love listening to your lives, and I love it when you talk too much and you know you can't post it on your feed. You
Yeah,
say
that
too
happened.
much and you can't be out in yourself like that. So you're like, okay, if only for the real ones. If you're here, you're here. If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know. I've even created a private story just for the memes and bants. So yeah, 100%.
Tinu, do you have any goals for 2024?
Mm.
Oh yeah, I've got heaps of goals. Listen, I'm making this to six figures, baby. I'm making this six figures.
Amen.
In 2024,
Amen.
are we crazy? Hello. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's actually the goal. And yeah, just setting them in manageable chunks. So that would look like £10,000 months every single month. In order to make that figure. So
Mm,
yeah, just grinding, working hard. I think a lot of people have this passive income idea. Me too. I had that passive income idea, but
Mhm.
actually, it's like a domino effect. You have to actually push for the first one to start dominoing over. So I'm really young
mm.
right now. So I'm setting myself up for my future. I'm setting up my kids. I don't have kids yet right now. I'm not even married, and at the time which we're recording, I'm single. So, setting up for the future. I'm
Yeah.
pushing now so that after, like, I'm set for life, you know what I mean?
No, that's amazing. Question.
Yeah.
What is two truths and a lie?
Okay. Should I just say them all, like, one by one?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I failed my degree.
Okay.
I went to the University of Warwick and I started my property journey whilst there.
Okay.
And my mum's my favourite person.
Okay. Okay. I think I know what the lie is, but I want the listeners to go onto our making the Jump podcast Instagram.
Yeah.
There will be a poll on there, and I want you guys to guess what you think the lie is, and we'll reveal probably 24 hours, 48 hours after the poll's gone live. So
Good.
what do you think Tinu's lie is amongst what she said?
Tinu, do you have a favourite quote? Something that might inspire our listeners?
Yes. You will miss every shot that you don't take. I don't know if you guys can still see me. I'm slightly blurry at the moment, but yeah, we'll miss every single shot that you don't take. So why not go for it? That's my motto. That's my thing. Obviously, because right now I'm quite young, I can afford to make those mistakes. But even people who are listening that are slightly older, like the worst thing you can regret is being in the same place that you are now. A lack of growth.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Let's get that on the Instagram, Kafilat.
Yeah.
100%. I love that. That is amazing. You've been amazing, Tinu. I've loved having you on as our very first guest. You've really set the bar very high for
Oh my God.
guests.
Energy.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course, no worries, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
So if people want to reach out to you or work with you, how would they do that?
If you guys can send me a DM on at Kingdom, what do I call my Instagram? Kingdom Rose Developments. Type it up. It's a dark blue logo with yellow gold writing KRD. Drop me a message. I do reply to all of my messages. I don't think I'm too big for anyone, so yeah, please do message me and I'll get back to you ASAP.
Love that. We love a humble queen.
Yeah, come on. You know the
The queen who's made the jump. What more
Of
can you want?
course. Exactly
No.
right.
No, if you guys want to reach out to us, we have our Making the Jump podcast Instagram, which is called Making the Jump Pod. If you wanted to follow me, I'm Banjo Estates. Banjo, like the instrument, Estates.
And I'm at Abide Property Management, where you can follow me and my husband Dave on our SA journey.
Perfect. It's been lovely having you on, Tinu. We really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm so gassed to be here.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.